Yo, what is good? So it's been a while since I've done a pickups video, so I'm just gonna jump into it. Got quite a bit of stuff. None of it's like crazy, I don't think. It's just kind of stuff that I found that looked interesting and that I wanted to pick up, and stuff that just kind of rounds out some other collections. First up, we got Orphan, Scion of Sorcery. This is a game that I've seen around quite a bit over the years. This kind of gives me Dark Cloud vibes. I don't know how this game plays. I know of the anime. I've seen a little bit of the anime. And yeah, like I said, I don't know how the actual game plays. I found like a lot of PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 anime-based games are kind of hit or miss. So we'll see how this one goes. But it just seemed like it would be kind of an interesting game to get into. Next, we got Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Love the movie. Always love kind of kung fu, ninja, or samurai based games. This one I actually heard was pretty good from like people who played it. I think at the time it was viewed as maybe like shovelware, like kind of like the licensed games at the time usually didn't go pretty well, but like I feel like PS2 action games tend to be pretty interesting, albeit a little bit janky. So we'll see how this one goes. But like I said, I was reading some reviews about this one. People thought it was pretty cool, so that'll be one to get into pretty soon for me. I was actually looking this one up. There's a PAL version of this game, but I found the Japanese copy of this game locally, but it's called Energy Air Force, and it's a Taito game. This is a combat sim, kind of like Ace Combat, and I love me some Ace Combat style combat sims. And yeah, this one was another one. Like a lot of these import games that come through my local stores, usually like $10 or less, just generally because the PS2 in North America is region locked and not a lot of people have the ability to play these games. And like I said, I have a region unlocked PS2, so every now and then I'll just take a chance on these games. And like I said, I'd already been looking for the PAL version of this game, so just to see how the Japanese version goes. I don't know how playable it'll be, but I feel like you can probably just kind of make your way through this game anyway. I was watching some videos on this one too, and I was watching someone do carrier landings and stuff, and that looked like it'd be pretty fun to do. So kind of excited to jump into that one. And then the next one, this is going to be the last PS2 game I have, but it's Gsavior. This is another Japanese import that I picked up at a local store, and this is a Gundam action game. I love Gundam. I like how more fluid Gundam games feel these days, but a lot of them are like online multiplayer, kind of like arena fighters or like 3v3 type games. Rarely do you have like single player Gundam games anymore, which kind of sucks. But this is like an action based kind of single player game, and like the combat in this game looks really cool. And yeah, this was one that I had on my list, so it was kind of cool to just come by it locally anyway. Right, next up, we got some Xbox games. First one's the only OG Xbox game that I got here. It's going to be Showdown Legends of Wrestling. WCW vs. NWO World Tour on the N64 is like my favorite wrestling game ever. And so this one kind of gave me the same vibes. We'll see how this one goes. I haven't played it yet, but I'm kind of hoping it controls like WCW vs. NWO did, and it's less kind of directional inputs, kind of how a lot of the WWF games were. We'll see how this one is. I've heard this is really good though, and like I feel like wrestling games are kind of few and like really good wrestling games are kind of few and far between. So I have my hopes up that like people have hyped this one up, kind of up there with like WWF, the arcade game and stuff. This one I feel like it will be a good one. If anything, it should be entertaining. Next, we have Record of Agarist War, or Agarist War. I actually don't know how you say this one. This is a strategy RPG. I like a lot of the Record of strategy RPG games. So this one was one that I just kind of been putting off. Come on. I'd been kind of putting off actually picking this one up because I feel like you generally would see this one a lot, but I see it less and less these days. And so I decided to get it because I got this one during the holidays and local stores were doing like sales, so I got this one in like a buy 3 get 1 free sale, so might as well get it. Okay, jumping right into the Xbox One, we got Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet. I grabbed a few Sword Art games, so you're gonna see some more of these later. I have been wanting to play like a really good action RPG lately, and like the combat in the Sword Art games has always looked really cool. I've actually not played any of them myself. I've played actually, I think there's one on the Vita or the PSP that I tried to play, and like I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. But like I kind of want to come back to it now, and like I said, I kind of want to play an action-based RPG game that's kind of like MMOs, something kind of like Phantasy Star. And so I think this will scratch that itch. I watched some video on this one. The combat looked really cool. I'm kind of hoping there's at least like an offline mode to play this, but if not, I'll play it online. This is why I kind of went for kind of a more modern game, just in case you actually do have to play it online. Then we got a Resident Evil Origins collection. I actually only got this for the RE1. Like, it sucks that I really wanted the Switch version of this, but the RE1 isn't included on the cart for the Switch. It's a download, which is stupid. So I just got the Xbox version of this. And yeah, I just love me some RE1. I have RE1 Remake on Steam, I think. This is the only place I had it. So I realized I didn't have a physical copy of the game. And this is when like people were talking about Xbox was going to stop doing physical games and all the stores were going to purge Xbox One games and stuff. So I was like, let me just grab a copy of this game before it becomes hard to find. Because like I do favor Xbox over PlayStation of like last gen, this gen. So I do want to get like Xbox versions of games a lot of the time. Okay, and now we got one of my favorite games of all time, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. I just like the case for this one. This is the 360 version of this game, but it just comes in like it's a backwards compatible game via like just the Xbox backwards compatibility / performance boosting emulator that they have. And so that's why I think you just have the Xbox One and Xbox 360 stuff there. But like I freaking love me some Oblivion, and it comes with all the DLC, and so yeah, wanted to get me a copy of that. Alright, we'll take a look at some portables. I only got one PSP game. This is Darkstalkers Chronicle, the Chaos Tower. I actually had a copy of this game. I couldn't remember if I did. This game was on sale. This is again back during the holidays when games were, or like stores were doing sales. And I have a sealed copy of this game, so this one is an open copy, so I can at least play it. But I love Darkstalkers. Kind of wish we still got Darkstalkers games, although I'm sure in this day and age it wouldn't be sprite-based, and it would probably look a lot like Street Fighter 4, 5, and 6. But it would be cool if we still got Darkstalkers games. Next one up, Project Cross Zone 2. This game was just like super cheap. I have a sealed copy of this one as well, and then this game was like $10, and it just had been sitting on the shelf for a bit, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I have this game. My 3DS games have been kind of boxed up for a few years, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna grab it because it's cheap and because I'm pretty positive my copy was sealed, and then when I double checked, my copy is sealed. But I've been playing this game actually, and it's pretty cool. Like Project Cross Zone 1 was really cool. Kind of sad that the concept of it didn't really catch on, and I kind of would have been cool if these had released on a console. Like Switch versions of these would be really cool to see, or just like port them to the PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Series X and stuff. Like it'd just be cool to see those in other places. Final Fantasy Explorers is the next game. I feel like I just completely missed the boat on this game. Like I didn't even know this released. And so this one was it was pretty cheap at a local thrift store, so I just grabbed it. I think it was like $20, something like that. So I'm not entirely sure if this game plays like Crystal Chronicles or if it plays like a traditional Final Fantasy game or what. So I was like, you know, I have not actually heard of this game, and it's a 3DS game, and I feel like I was pretty up to date on the 3DS. So anyway, ended up grabbing it. And then we have another Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Wings. This one I'd actually had on my list for a while. I like Final Fantasy 12 is probably my second favorite Final Fantasy game, I'm gonna say. Oh my god, this thing is just like losing its mind. I'm playing Project Cross Zone 2, like I said, and after I finish that one, I'll probably start playing this and see how it is. Okay, so now we got quite a bit of Wii games and PS4 games. I'm just gonna jump into the Wii games. So I'm running out the Wii collection of probably like, oh my god, at this point, maybe like a decade ago, I went pretty hard into the Wii, like collecting on the Wii. And so there's a lot of games still on the Wii that I kind of want to get, but I'm not like in a rush to try to find or try to buy. So like when I find them at local thrift stores and stuff, they're generally like $10 or less. And so as I find the more interesting ones, I'll just grab them. And so we have Minicopter Adventure Flight. This is kind of like, if you're a fan of Pilot Wings. Someone's like, what the hell's the name of that game? Pilot Wings on Super Nintendo or N64. This kind of gives me the same kind of vibes. This is kind of like a cool, challenging flight game. It's not like based in combat or anything. It's just based on doing challenges and flying around. Except it's like RC helicopters, and so it's like, I guess kind of like double the fun. Like it's not a real thing, but you get to play through some interesting like levels and worlds and stuff. And it just seemed like a cool game. Okay, Zoo is one of my favorite kind of shovelware publishers for the Wii. They publish a lot of games that I find to be pretty interesting, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people would consider to be shovelware. But Twin Strike Operation Thunder is a helicopter sim game, so this is kind of like Ace Combat but with helicopters. Don't know how well this game will play, but it looks pretty cool, and I can't really think of any kind of combat sims that I've played that use a helicopter. I remember on PC back in the day, there was like Apache, and there was like maybe another one, but recently I can't think of a helicopter combat game that I played. Alright, now we got Bust a Move Bash, the Majesco published game. I like the Bust a Move games. I like these kind of like puzzle bobble Bust a Move type games where you're just chaining stuff together and watching things pop off on screen. This one's kind of cool because it makes use of the Wii's like easy multiplayer abilities, and so you can play like up to 8 players, so you can have a whole bunch of people on screen having fun with this game. There's also like a bunch of like interesting Tetris games that are like this, so it's like I feel like the Wii is really great for couch co-op type games. We got Fishing Master. This is a Hudson Soft game. Like I feel like I've said this multiple times on my channel throughout the years, but pretty much if I come across Hudson Soft games, I just buy them. They tend to be hard to find. This game, I like fishing games. I like Hudson Soft games. Hudson Soft tends to make kind of fun mini game type games a lot of the time, and I feel like this is a fishing game made up of a whole bunch of mini games, and so I bought it. Next up, we got Kirby's Epic Yarn. This one, I remember seeing this one. I don't think I ever bought it because I never really saw it go on sale. And so this one just eluded my collection for a while, but I ended up grabbing one. I didn't realize, so like this game has kind of like a thick manual. Like you pick this case up and you're feeling how heavy this manual is. So like that's pretty cool. Didn't realize it was a thickie. But yeah, so this one came complete in box. Got it for a good price since it was a used copy, and now it's in the collection. We got Harvest Moon, Tree of Tranquility. I've been picking up quite a bit of Harvest Moon games lately, trying to get the ones where the devs, like the original devs of Harvest Moon, were still involved, kind of before they split off and started making the Story of Seasons games. But like, I do like old farming simulator games. I find them to be fun. I find them to be relaxing a lot of times, and so yeah, it's like they tend to be really cheap these days too, because I think Stardew Valley pretty much ate this whole genre's lunch. So like, it's basically Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley, I think, are the only two that people really know. So like all the Harvest Moon games are pretty cheap. I actually got some on the GameCube as well, but I don't know if it's really worth getting up to get them. Next one up is another game that eluded my collection for a while, and that's Donkey Kong Country Returns. I have not actually completed a Donkey Kong Country game. I never owned Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, or 3 on the Super Nintendo. Just like games that I never came across. I didn't have nostalgia for them since I never played them as a kid. And then when collecting started catching on, like those were some of the first games that I noticed the prices just kind of get stupid on. Since I didn't have a desire to play them, I never grabbed them. But I do have Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze was the Wii U game. And I played that one quite a bit, didn't beat it, but like I liked it. And like I always heard like this one was like a fun time too. This is another one where like the manual is really thick. Like when you pick up the case, you're feeling that thickness of this manual. Like it is a girthy manual. Like it takes me back to the days, like, and the Wii wasn't even that long ago. So it's like, I feel like there's still a lot of people that have nostalgia for games coming with manuals. And it's like, man, I still wish that games came with manuals, but I guess now we're in a period where it's like physical games are probably not even going to be a thing that for that much longer. So it's like, forget, I guess, games coming with manuals. We're going to be talking about, hey, remember when games were physical? But next up, A Boy in His Blob. This is a Majesco published game and a WayForward developed game. Always loved me some WayForward games. I love the art style of this. I have the DS game, and I had a loose copy of the disc on the Wii. So this is now like a complete in-box copy. Found this one at a local thrift store. And like when I took it up to the register, the cashier was like, holy crap, I didn't know we had that. Like, you're lucky you found it before me because I would have grabbed it. So it was like, it's always cool to come across people who can appreciate good games. All right, and the last one, I actually just bought this one last weekend, but Sega Superstars Tennis. I have not played any of the Sega kind of like sports games. I love Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, Mario Kart, like all the various Mario games. Like I said, I haven't played any real Sega ones. So this one looked like it was pretty crazy. Like there's a lot of different modes and stuff that are going on. Like the bottom one is like you're playing tennis against zombies or something. And then it's just like normal tennis, but with flashy moves and stuff. So this one just seems like it'll be just a lot of fun to just play. And like one thing I appreciate about the Wii, more so than like any other of the consoles that I've showed so far, is that there's so many pick up and play games. Like games you can just pick up and play for an hour on some random day and have fun with it, and then like you don't have to remember what you were trying to do or anything. Like it's just so nice. And so many other games just require you to focus on that game until you beat it, and it's like, God, like why? And games are getting so long these days. Anyway, on to the PS4. So I also picked up a PlayStation Portal, and that's allowed me to focus on playing PlayStation games a lot more. Like I kind of don't find myself sitting at my TV for long periods of time again, which is again going back to the Wii. It's like the Wii's been nice because you just play a game for like 30 minutes to an hour and then call it good. But a lot of the PlayStation games and Xbox games, you got to put a little bit more time in. But the PlayStation Portal is at least allowing me to do like second screen stuff. So if there's other things I want to do, like watch a movie, or if I'm traveling and something, I can at least play some of these games. So I have played Dragon Quest Builders 1 on the Switch, but I figured I might as well just grab it. Both of these were $10 each, and I was mainly just wanting to get Dragon Quest Builders 2. And I was like, well, if I'm getting 2, I might as well get 1 since they're the same price. And so yeah, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth right now, but I think the next PlayStation game up for me is going to just be trying to put some time into Builders 2, because I did hear a lot of people liked it better than Builders 1. And I liked Builders 1 quite a bit, although the world was kind of dead. It's like not a lot to interact with. So I feel like Builders 2, from what I've heard, builds on that better. I grabbed Dynasty Warriors 9. I haven't played a single Dynasty Warriors game with like any kind of aim to finish the game, let's say. I like Hyrule Warriors. I like all the different mixes that this series has done with other genres, but like the core itself, like Dynasty Warriors, and I can't think of the other one, like Warriors Orochi, and then there's there's another like main game in these series. I haven't played them anyway, but so I grabbed this one thinking that it would be pretty cool. It was like, oh, it's kind of like a more modern one. Maybe that's a good place to jump in. And then I was reading reviews saying that this is the worst Dynasty Warrior game ever. And so I'm going to try it out just to see how it goes. But yeah, apparently I shouldn't get my hopes up. Then we got Sword Art Online. I said we'd come back to this. This one's Lost Song. Again, I don't have too much experience with the Sword Art Online series. I just know it's kind of like Phantasy Star, and I've been wanting to play a Phantasy Star type game. And then these games are actually like pretty cheap a lot of times. So I grabbed this one and HollowRealization. Not going to want to focus there, but I feel like this is probably going to be more of the same. But yeah, like it'll be kind of cool to get into these, I think, just see how they end up playing. And speaking of Dynasty Warriors, this is another series that was kind of has the same premise like the Muzo games, where it's like 1v1 million enemies and stuff. This one I always thought looked pretty cool, and this is another one where I didn't really see it go on sale around the time that it launched, and then it just ended up falling off my radar. And then recently I found a copy of it for like 15 bucks, so it's like, you know what, I'm gonna grab it. Okay, and then we got Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age. This is the kind of remake, remaster of Final Fantasy XII. Like I was saying with Revenant Wings on the DS, Final Fantasy XII has over the years grown to be my second favorite Final Fantasy game after Final Fantasy IX. And I really want to go back and just re-experience this world. Playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has just kind of made me really want to go back to Final Fantasy XII, I think. I don't know what about it has made me want to pick up Final Fantasy XII again, but yeah, after I'm gonna like play this game at some point this year. Like I feel like that's a done deal. Is I'm gonna revisit this game, especially with the Portal. PlayStation Portal will make that an easier task. All right, and then the last game I got here is Oni Chambra Chaos. I liked Only Chambra. Oh man, I can't think of the subtitle, but I played one over. It's like Oni Chambra. Oh man, I had it on the tip of my tongue and I forgot it. But I played the one on the Wii and like I really liked it a lot. And this is usually like a pretty good time as far as combat goes. Like the combat in these games is really good, and I wouldn't say there's much in the way of story, but like if you like gore and action and like really good combat and like 1v a lot of enemies, then this tends to be a pretty good series. And it's kind of a little bit spendy. I wouldn't say it's like a super obscure game or like a super collectible game, but the prices tend to be a little bit all over the place. Anyway, that's some of the pickups that I've had since whenever I did my last pickups video, which I'm gonna say was probably around summertime of last year. Maybe I'll do a Switch pickups video, maybe not. Anyway, hope you have a great one. Thanks for watching this video, and until the next time, deuces.